If the DNA of early civilization was rooted in male codes of kingship, class and gender, another culture emerged in the grasslands to the north, which, in the long term, would mount the greatest challenge to every subsequent civilization. Stretching from Ukraine in the west, across Kazakhstan and South Russia, to Mongolia in the east, the Eurasian steppe was home to the nomads, most notably the Scythian, Sarmatian and Pazyryk tribes. Dominated by warrior horsemen, this was just as male-led and martial a world. The best pasturelands had to be rigorously defended, and women were often captured in intertribal wars. But recent archaeology has revealed evidence of gender relations within the tribes that proves that the control and submission of women was not an inevitable development in ancient culture. Professor Leonid Yablonsky from the Moscow Institute of Archaeology has been excavating nomadic burial sites called kurgans across southern Russia for the past 25 years. Over the course of his long career, he has discovered hundreds of burials that reveal the centrality of women to nomadic culture.
Но у женщин, кроме украшений, мы находим и другие самые разнообразные предметы. Это и орудия труда, орудия для выделывания кожи. У некоторых женщин мы находим еще и предметы для нанесения татуировок. Кроме того, женщины отвечали за всю духовную жизнь в этом обществе, spiritual life. They were responsible. И таким образом социальные функции женщины были намного выше, чем социальные функции мужчин. Хотя военными вождями были только мужчины.
Did you find any evidence of women being buried with weapons?
Yes. Раньше археологи думали, что если найден скелет с оружием, то это непременно мужчина. А если найден скелет с бусами, то это непременно женщина. Но потом, когда научились определять пол по костям скелета, оказалось, что это не так. И антропологи, физические антропологи, нам показали, что мы очень часто ошибались.
Many of Professor Yablonsky's finds are now housed in the National Museum in Orenburg. The female graves contain a remarkable variety of treasures. There's gold jewellery, such as torques and feline coat clasps, sacred objects, such as mirrors, seashells and portable altars, and a large cache of weapons, revealing women's roles as warriors within the tribe.
Смотрите, очень маленькая ручка.
Yeah, your hand is too big. It could only be for a woman. It's a woman's implement. Among the treasures, items from one individual burial stand out. Those of a 14-year-old girl who was buried with over 40 bronze arrowheads.
Лук – это оружие дистанционного боя. То есть не обязательно обладать большой физической силой для того, чтобы уметь хорошо стрелять из лука. Как и сегодня, и во время Второй мировой войны, и во время войны на Кавказе, роль снайперов исполняли именно женщины. Потому что снайперская винтовка – это оружие дистанционного боя. Поэтому нельзя исключить, что во время войн древних, сарматских, женщины могли тоже пользоваться луками, находясь на некоторой дистанции от противника.
Much like Neolithic Çatalhöyük, these finds reveal a world in which the precariousness of survival negated ideas of segregation or divisions of labour. Women's roles were not confined to their biological functions or to domestic space. The nomads were, if you will, a kind of third way, different from the empires and city-states around them. And as for the urban codes that governed land, property, status, the family, none of these applied to them. And what this meant for women was that their value extended far beyond being simply someone else's property or producing sons. They were recognized because of their skills and because their contribution to society was absolutely necessary. It just goes to show that biology isn't everything. One of the most extraordinary finds in the steppe was much further east, in the Altai Mountains on the Russian border with Mongolia. These lands were home to the Pazyryk tribe, whose territories straddled the trade routes of China, India, and Persia. In 1993, preserved in the ice of the Ukok Plateau, the Russian archaeologist Natalia Polozmak found a tomb of a 25-year-old woman dating from 400 BC, whom she called the Ice Maiden. Buried with her were 6 horses sacrificed for her journey into the afterlife, portable tables and altars containing coriander seeds and a last meal of mutton, and a leather pouch containing a precious silver mirror, revealing her status as a revered religious leader for her tribe. Controversially flown to Moscow to be studied and preserved, she has since become a symbol of national pride to the peoples of the Altai after years of Soviet rule.
Азайдар кайдан эмдезе Алтай албатының дезе табылган казынтынан табылган бу курган дезе ол жан значение имеет ненің үшін дезе Алтай улус ол битет биздин дезе каан кыз болгон биздин каан киши дезе жерине барган болсо жакшы болор эди өтө тегин казып дезе жерде элекеге жылаңаш көргүзбөй.
She was also discovered in the most complete set of nomadic clothing ever found. Felt riding boots, a long shift made from expensive Indian silk. Around her neck was a beautifully crafted necklace of 8 felines. On her head was a horsehair wig crowned with a hat nearly a metre high and covered with a coterie of symbolic animals that once again reveals the alliance of women with nature in ancient culture.
Өндөй нени дезе мен база көрөлө коштук айкагам. Ол куштар дезе является конями, небесными конями между верхним миром и нижним миром. Темен айын санантырым боюмна алдынан. Оның дезе, оның алдында дезе аң, который стоит на шаре. Шар дезе, ол дезе символ власти. Анын куштун тынын боюна алала и те ондой учурлук киши болбойт деп те.
Now housed in the National Museum in Gorno-Altaysk, the mummy of the Ice Maiden has made an emotional return home after 19 years. And what her body reveals is perhaps the most significant find of all, a set of animalistic tattoos which reveal her special status within the group. She's covered in these mystical creatures that go all the way down both arms, down to her fingertips. She had on her left shoulder this large tattoo of a deer, whose antlers morphed into birds and griffins. And then below that was a panther next to a ram, the predator and the prey combined together. We do know that the deer represented the sacred feminine. It was the one animal that could pass from the earth to the spiritual world and back again, and it also had regenerative powers. Today, the people of the Altai believe that her tattoos contain a coded message that will one day be revealed to them. And if she was once a shaman to the Pazyryks and played a vital role in their community, today she's still playing that role for the people of the Altai. The nomads are often written out of history as being illiterate and unimportant, but I believe they left a legacy that has proved to be exceptionally powerful and long-lasting. The first was the marshalling of an economy between East and West that came to be known as the Silk Road. But second, and equally important, was the active roles of women that made the nomads the great other in ancient culture, and which culminated with the Mongol leader Genghis Khan putting his daughters in charge of the world's largest ever empire. And of all the symbols that illustrate nomadic women's status, the hat is one of the most potent, remnants of which have been found in hundreds of nomadic graves. Adorned with gold and precious stones, these hats are still used across the steppe today as a portable bank account controlled by women and passed down from mother to daughter.
It's more than just a piece of fabric. It has immense power. Like the veil, it denoted a woman's wealth and status. But in this case, it wasn't about modesty or chastity. It was about a woman's power and agency. In other words, it was about how a woman was perceived and how she perceived herself.